Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling something, pretty fundamental to how we navigate life. The incredible power of therapy, and really just the simple act of talking.
Mm-hmm.
You might have wondered, why just talking to someone can make such a difference, or maybe the whole idea of therapy feels a little distant, maybe even intimidating.
Yeah, it's definitely something people grapple with. There can be a lot of uncertainty, even myths around what therapy actually is and does.
Right. So our mission in this deep dive is to really break down why opening up, why speaking about what's on our minds can be such a powerful tool for our mental well-being.
Exactly. We want to cut through some of that confusion and explore the core reasons why this whole process can be so transformative.
Okay, so let's get specific then. When we say therapy, what does that actually mean in practice? What are we talking about?
Well, think of therapy or counseling as essentially a dedicated and confidential space. It's created specifically for you. It's an opportunity to explore your thoughts, your emotions, the challenges you're facing.
Yeah.
But with someone who is professionally trained to listen and, importantly, to guide you.
So not just a casual chat.
No, definitely not. And it's really key to remember, therapy isn't just reserved for times of crisis. I think that's a big misconception.
Right.
It's just as valuable if you're looking to understand yourself better, or maybe proactively boost your mental well-being, or just navigate any of life's complexities, big or small.
So it's less about being in a state of emergency, like you said, and maybe more about actively building resilience and understanding. That makes sense.
Precisely.
And I know there are different ways therapists approach things, right? Different styles. Can you give us maybe a quick overview of some of those?
Absolutely. Yeah, there's quite a range of therapeutic approaches,
Right.
And each tends to focus on different aspects of our mental and emotional landscape. You've probably heard of cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT.
Yeah, CBT comes up a lot.
It does. And what's particularly interesting about CBT is its focus on that direct link between our thoughts, our feelings, and our behaviors.
Okay, how does that work?
So, for instance, someone struggling with anxiety might have an automatic thought like, I'm definitely going to fail this presentation. CBT helps you first identify that thought, then examine the evidence for it, like, have I actually failed every single presentation I've ever given?
Probably not.
Exactly. And then you work on developing more balanced, more realistic thoughts like, okay, I've prepared well, and while there might be challenges, I am capable.
That's a really clear way to see it, almost like you're retraining your thought habits, getting out of those ruts.
Precisely. That's a great way to put it. Then there's what's often called talk therapy or psychodynamic therapy. At its heart, this is about providing that open, supportive, confidential space for you to just talk through what's on your mind and process your emotions.
Right.
It's dedicated time to explore your inner world with someone who's really equipped to listen deeply, maybe connect past experiences to present feelings.
So it's kind of like having a skilled guide, maybe, to help you navigate your own thoughts and feelings. Less structured than CBT, perhaps.
Exactly. Often less structured, more exploratory. And then we have approaches like mindfulness-based therapy.
Mindfulness. That's everywhere now.
It is, and for good reason. Think of it as intentionally focusing your awareness on the present moment, but without judgment. It's like training your attention muscle to just stay with what's happening right now.
Okay.
Which can be incredibly helpful in managing stress and anxiety, which so often stem from dwelling on the past or worrying about the future.
Right, that really resonates, just bringing your focus back to the present instead of getting totally carried away by worries.
And we should also mention therapies that focus more on our connections with others, like couples therapy or family therapy.
Right, the relationship side.
Yeah. These approaches aim specifically to improve communication patterns, help resolve conflicts, and ultimately strengthen the bonds within those key relationships.
So a pretty diverse set of tools and perspectives available, but ultimately, whether it's CBT changing thoughts or mindfulness focusing attention or working on relationships, the core aim seems to be providing that support and effective strategies for navigating life, right?
That's precisely. You nailed it. The fundamental goal across all these different forms of therapy is really to offer you that crucial support, a deeper understanding maybe of yourself or your situation, and practical tools, things that empower you to navigate the inevitable complexities of life with hopefully greater resilience.
Okay, that clarifies things a lot. So we have a better picture now of what therapy is. Let's really dive into the core question. Why does simply talking about things have such a powerful impact on our mental well-being? What's the mechanism?
Yeah, that's a great question. If we step back and look at the bigger picture, consider that as human beings, we are inherently social creatures. It's just how we're built. Our brains are literally wired for connection. So the act of sharing our inner experiences, our thoughts, our feelings with another person who is truly listening, well, it taps into a very fundamental human need.
Okay, connection.
Connection. And when you actually put your feelings and thoughts into words, it can have this profound effect on gaining clarity and a fresh perspective. Imagine like a really cluttered attic. As you start to pick up and describe each item, maybe decide what to keep, what to toss, you begin to see what's really there and how it all fits together or doesn't fit together. Verbalizing does something similar for our minds.
That's a great analogy. It's like organizing the chaos in your mind just by giving it a voice, by articulating it.
Exactly. And there's a really significant impact that comes specifically from speaking to someone who offers genuine, non-judgmental listening. That space, free from criticism or preconceived notions, it's incredibly valuable.
Why is the non-judgmental part so important?
Because it allows you to be fully open without fear of shame or rejection. It can truly lighten the emotional burdens you've been carrying, maybe unconsciously. And challenges that once felt overwhelming can start to seem more manageable simply by sharing them out loud with another person who accepts what you're saying.
So it's not just the act of vocalizing, it's also the quality of the listening you receive that makes the difference, that safe space.
Precisely. That's a huge piece of it. And let's look at some specific ways therapy achieves this healing. One crucial element is simply validation and understanding.
Validation, okay.
Yeah. When you share something vulnerable, maybe something you feel ashamed of or confused about, and have it met with genuine understanding and acceptance, that can be profoundly healing in itself. It directly counters feelings of isolation. Am I the only one who feels this way? And it affirms the reality and validity of your experiences.
That feeling of being truly seen and acknowledged in your struggles. Yeah, that must be incredibly powerful just on its own.
It truly is. It's a core human need. Another key aspect is the process of breaking negative thought cycles. We touched on this with CBT.
Right.
We can often get caught in these repetitive loops of thinking that are unhelpful or even harmful, almost like a record skipping on the same negative track over and over.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
A therapist is trained to help you first become aware of these recurring patterns. Sometimes we don't even notice them. And then work with you to develop strategies to challenge and ultimately change them.
So they're helping you kind of become aware of those stuck patterns and then learn how to consciously change the record, so to speak.
Exactly. That's a perfect way to put it. And then beyond just thoughts, there's the development of essential problem solving and coping skills. Therapy isn't just about dissecting problems from the past. It's very much about equipping you with practical tools and techniques.
So practical strategies.
Yes, things you can actually use in your daily life to manage stress, anxiety, relationship difficulties, whatever it might be, more effectively going forward.
Like learning concrete strategies to deal with challenges when they inevitably pop up again.
Precisely. Building that toolkit. And finally, we really can't overlook the vital role of emotional release. Just letting it out.
Catharsis.
Sort of, but maybe deeper than just venting. Suppressing emotions, bottling things up. It takes a significant amount of mental and emotional energy. It can be incredibly draining over time.
Definitely.
Talking in a safe and supportive environment allows you to actually process and release those pent-up feelings. This isn't just about feeling better momentarily. It can bring about a tremendous sense of relief and lightness long-term.
So it's more than just letting off steam, like yelling into a pillow. It's a deeper process of working through and understanding those stored emotions.
Exactly. It's about processing those emotions in a healthy way, maybe exploring where they come from, understanding their triggers, and ultimately facilitating healing and the development of more constructive ways of moving forward rather than just repeating old patterns.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now, despite all these really clear benefits we've discussed, there are still, as you mentioned, some common misconceptions out there that might hold people back from even considering therapy. What are some of the most frequent myths you encounter?
Oh yeah, that's a really important area to address. There are definitely some persistent myths floating around. One very, very common one is the idea that therapy is only for people with serious mental health issues. Like you have to be diagnosed with something major.
Right, like it's only for extreme cases.
Exactly. And this is simply not the case. Therapy is a valuable resource for everyone. Think of it more like a tune-up for your mental and emotional well-being.
Tune-up, I like that.
Yeah. It can be incredibly beneficial for individuals dealing with everyday stressors, job stress, relationship friction, feeling overwhelmed, or navigating significant life changes, like a move, a new job, a loss. or even for those who are simply seeking personal growth and a deeper understanding of themselves. You absolutely do not need to be in a crisis to benefit.
That's such a crucial point to emphasize. It's like saying you only go to the gym if you're, I don't know, training for a marathon rather than just for general fitness and well-being.
That's a perfect comparison. Exactly. Another myth we often hear is talking to friends is the same as therapy.
Yeah, I have friends. Why would I pay someone?
Right. And look, having a strong support system of friends is incredibly important, vital even. But it's not a substitute for working with a trained professional.
How so?
Well, therapists bring a unique set of clinical skills, theoretical knowledge that's grounded in research, and crucially, a neutral, objective perspective that even the most well-meaning friends typically don't possess. They're trained to listen differently, to notice patterns, and they can offer tailored strategies and insights based on evidence-based practices, not just personal opinion or experience.
Okay, so friends provide that vital emotional connection and support, absolutely. But a therapist offers that additional layer of professional expertise and unbiased guidance. That makes sense.
Precisely. Then there's the really harmful myth that therapy is a sign of weakness.
Yeah, that one persists.
It does, unfortunately. And in reality, reaching out for help when you're struggling demonstrates significant strength, not weakness. It shows self-awareness, a commitment to your own well-being. It's a proactive step towards taking care of yourself, which is anything but weak.
It really flips that perception on its head, doesn't it? It takes courage to acknowledge you might need support and then to actively go seek it out.
Exactly. It takes real courage.
Yeah.
And finally, many people worry that if I start therapy, I'll have to go forever. Like it's this endless commitment.
Right, like you're signing up for life.
Yeah. And this simply isn't true. Therapy is actually a very flexible process. The duration can vary significantly depending on your individual needs, your goals for therapy, and the specific issues you're addressing. Some people find what they need in a relatively short course of sessions may be just a few months, while others might benefit from longer-term support, perhaps working through deeper issues. But it's always a collaborative decision between you and your therapist. It's not some indefinite sentence.
So it's not an indefinite commitment unless that's actually what feels right and is helpful for you at that time.
Correct. And, debunking these myths is so important because they can create unnecessary stigma and literally prevent individuals from accessing the very support that could lead to significant improvements in their lives. Normalizing therapy, making it okay to talk about, is really key to fostering a more understanding and supportive community around mental health.
Absolutely. It benefits everyone when we reduce that stigma. Okay, so for someone listening who might be thinking, okay, this is resonating with me, maybe exploring therapy could actually be beneficial. What are some concrete first steps they can take? How do you actually get started? It can feel daunting.
That's a great and practical question. It can feel overwhelming. The very first step, I'd say, is to take some time for some honest self-reflection and try to identify your needs. What specific areas of your life are you finding challenging right now?
Like, what's actually bothering me?
Exactly. Is it persistent feelings of anxiety? Is it difficulties in your relationships? Maybe a lack of self-confidence, lingering sadness, trouble with transitions? Having even a slightly clearer picture of what you're hoping to address will really help guide your search for the right kind of support.
So it's about tuning into your own internal landscape first and identifying what kind of help you're actually seeking. Makes sense.
Exactly. Then, step 2 is the actual process of finding a therapist. And there are numerous avenues you can explore here. You could ask for recommendations, perhaps from your doctor or maybe trusted friends who've had positive experiences. Yeah. You can look for licensed mental health professionals, counselors, psychologists, social workers in your local area. Many professional organizations have online directories. Or you can explore the increasing number of reputable online therapy platforms, which offer really convenient access to support from home.
Right. Online therapy has become huge.
It really has. And a key tip here, many therapists offer free initial consultations, usually like 15, 20 minutes. This provides a really valuable opportunity to just speak with them briefly, ask questions, get a feel for their style, and see if their approach feels like a potentially good fit for you, all without any immediate commitment or cost.
That initial conversation sounds like a really helpful, low-pressure way to just get a sense of whether it could be a good match before diving in.
It absolutely is. I highly recommend taking advantage of those. The third step, and this is important, is to be open to the possibility that finding the right therapeutic relationship, that connection with a therapist or maybe the most effective method for you, might take a little time.
Okay, so don't expect the first person to be perfect.
Exactly. Just like finding the right doctor or the right teacher, it's okay if the first therapist you connect with doesn't feel like the perfect fit. Don't be discouraged by that. It's actually a sign of self-awareness to recognize what you need and what feels right. It's perfectly acceptable, even encouraged, to explore different options until you find someone who resonates with you and your specific needs. That relationship is key.
So it's really about prioritizing that connection and feeling comfortable and understood by the person you're going to be sharing such personal aspects of your life with.
Precisely. That trust and rapport are fundamental. And the final crucial step, once you have found a therapist you feel reasonably comfortable with, is to try to be as open and honest as you can be during your therapy sessions.
Even when it's hard.
Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard sometimes. The more honestly you share your thoughts, your feelings, your experiences, the good, the bad, the confusing, the more effectively your therapist can understand you and provide that tailored support. And ultimately, the more you will gain from the therapeutic process.
It makes complete sense. The more you engage authentically, the more you'll likely get out of it in terms of insight and actual progress.
Exactly. And alongside that, it's really important to have realistic expectations. Therapy is a journey. It's a process of growth and exploration, and it's rarely a quick fix. There's usually no magic wand.
Right. Not an overnight solution.
No. It requires time, consistency showing up for your appointments, and a willingness to engage actively, both in session and sometimes with things you work on between sessions. But with that commitment, it truly has the potential to create a significant and lasting positive impact on your overall mental and emotional well-being.
That's a really clear and encouraging overview of how someone can actually take those first steps. It makes it seem less overwhelming.
Yeah, hopefully. It's really about demystifying the process and empowering individuals to take that step if they feel it could be a valuable addition to their lives.
Okay, so as we bring this deep dive to a close, it feels really clear that therapy isn't just about, fixing problems when they become overwhelming, although it can certainly help with that.
Mm-hmm.
It seems fundamentally about fostering personal growth, achieving deeper self-understanding, and really embarking on a genuine path towards healing and greater overall well-being.
Well said. It's proactive, not just reactive.
Yeah. So if you, our listener, have ever felt even like a flicker of curiosity about therapy, or maybe sensed deep down that it might offer you some valuable support, well, we wholeheartedly encourage you to consider taking that initial step, whatever it might look like for you.
Absolutely.
Remember, the simple yet, as we've discussed, profound act of talking within the right therapeutic relationship holds incredible power. Power to heal, power to help you thrive. And you absolutely deserve that kind of support. Nobody has to go it alone.
Everyone deserves support.
Yeah. Perhaps, just as a final thought to leave with, take a moment to consider how more open and honest communication, whether in therapy or even just in your own life, could benefit your own well-being moving forward. Something to mull over.